everybody. Welcome to hell, because we are gonna be hurting bad with this one. This will be the toughest thing in this full Zelda run, from the very first game all the way through the current. But fingers crossed that we can make it through without too many tears, and with only one broken controller. If I can get by with only one broken controller, I think we'll be good. Hope everyone's days have been going well. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to do this one because my Elgato is being weird, so anything on console wasn't working for a while. But I got it running, so we're moving forward. But yes, we are officially at the end of the Downfall timeline. You never played this one, despite being a pretty big Zelda fan. It's cool, dude. Like, it took me a very long time before I beat this game. I was probably in my early 20s. I was playing this since I was probably like 4 or 5 years old, but I didn't beat it until I was in my 20s. Which is kind of depressing, but it is what it is. Hey, what's up, Break? Welcome on in at the beginning, too. I guess you're not streaming tonight. Oh, boy. You have a hard copy? Yeah, I still have a hard copy of this as well. Well, I don't. It's with my sister's stuff. I have all of the Super Nintendo games and Super Nintendo. She has the original Nintendo. But anyways, before we get going on the game itself, we need to go to the instruction manual, because, you know, that's how these things go. We gotta get the story before we can start the game. So let's swap this over and we'll go to town. Boom. Alright, so let's get a copy of the instruction manual and go through what we got here. Now, there's a couple of random things in this that I'm going to use non-canon sources from some of the mangas. Only because I think it's interesting thematically, but not because it's necessarily lore canon. But it could be, because it doesn't contradict anything. You guys know my rules on this. So let's just get going on this. So Hyrule was on a road to ruin. The power that the vile heart of Ganon had left behind was causing chaos and disorder in Hyrule. So this takes place, I think, 6 years after the end of the first game. What's more, even after the fall of Ganon, some of his underlings remained, waiting for Ganon's return. The key to Ganon's return was the blood of Link, the valiant lad who overthrew the King of Evil. Ganon would be revived by sacrificing Link and sprinkling his blood on the ashes of Ganon. So yes, we're starting off with the ritual blood sacrifice. Because, yeah. Meanwhile, Link remained in the little kingdom of Hyrule and lent his hand to its restoration, but circumstances did not look very good. One day, a strange mark exactly like the crest of the kingdom appeared on the back of Link's hand as he approached his 16th birthday. Okay. So yeah, I remember in the first game there was two contradictory information. One, he was 12, and one, he was 10. I think one was in the Hyrule Historian, one was a Miyamoto interview. So it's between 4 to 6 years, depending on what you want to say. The word Link went to Impa, Princess Zelda's nursemaid, who was shocked and frightened when she saw the birthmark. When she regained her composure, she took Link to the North Castle. There's a door in the North Castle called the Door That Does Not Open. Only the descendants of the Impa family who served the king knew how to open the door. So we're already getting Sheikah tribe stuff here, even though it's not called that yet. Impa took Link's left hand and pressed the back of it against the door. There was a sound of a lock falling open. The door slowly creaked, and there, on an altar in the middle of the room, lay a beautiful woman. Here lies Princess Zelda. Impa began to speak calmly. So this is in terms of the timeline, we call this Zelda the First, even though we know chronologically she's not the first, but at the time we just kind of go with it. Link, the time has come when I must tell you the legend of Zelda handed down in Hyrule. It is said that long ago, when Hyrule was one country, a great ruler maintained the peace in Hyrule using the Triforce. However, the king too was the child of man, and he died. Then the prince of the kingdom should have become king and inherited everything, but he could inherit the Triforce only in part. The prince searched everywhere for the missing parts, but could not find them. Then a magician close to the king brought him some unexpected news. Before he died, the king had said something about the Triforce to only the younger sister of the prince, Princess Zelda. The prince immediately questioned the princess, but she wouldn't tell him anything. After the prince, the magician threatened to put the princess into an eternal sleep if she did not talk, but even still, she said nothing. In his anger, the magician tried to cast a magic spell on the princess. The surprised prince tried to stop him, but the magician fought off the prince and went on chanting the spell. Then, when the spell was finally cast, Princess Zelda fell on that spot and entered a sleep from which she might never waken. At the same time, the magician also fell down and breathed his last. In his grief, the prince placed the princess in his room. He hoped that someday she would come back to life. So that this tragedy will never be forgotten, he ordered that every female child born into the royal household should be given the name Zelda. And again, this is kind of adjusted later because we know how far back the timeline goes, and we have Zelda long before this. Now, one little thing I wanted to bring up that I find really interesting, or possibly interesting, actually has to do with Ganon lore. The Demon King Ganon. A lot of people have questioned why the prince was like, oh yeah, screw you, screw you, screw you, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, what did I do? What happened? Let's not do this ever again. And the magician just suddenly dying for no reason. I've always found it interesting that the official artwork shows the magician coming out of the prince's shadow. Kind of like a Peter Pan in his shadow situation. It makes me wonder if the magician was really a flesh and blood thing or a different aspect of the prince that came out and immediately vanished once it was done. And that's why it quote-unquote died. But again, it kind of contradicts this instruction manual, but I think that would be a little bit more... make more sense just from the artwork. But there's also another non-canon source from one of the mangas that names the magician as Karok, which is a boss in this game later on. And the inference, what they say in that manga was that Karok essentially is the main cultist that's behind trying to capture Link and do the ritual blood sacrifice. And we later find him in the Maze Palace, but that what happened was his heart was tainted with darkness, and that left him vulnerable to Ganon's possession. So they try to pass along the idea that if your heart is dark enough, the demon that is Ganon can occupy it. And this just kind of reminds me of the whole situation with Riku in Kingdom Hearts, where he got dark enough, he got possessed by Ansem, and as soon as he saw exactly what happened, he freaked out and rejected it completely, just like the prince just rejected it completely. So, who knows? Who knows? But just I like the lore implication that, yeah, Ganon can possess you like an actual demon, not just a entity, like not just an individual that lives in another dimension or is banished to another dimension, but can literally possess you because it acts in a demonic way. But anyways, I'm ranting enough. Let's move on. From the stand next to the altar where Princess Zelda lay in deep sleep, Impa took 6 crystals and a scroll from the same crest and handed them to Link. For generations, my family has been handed down these things, which have been set aside for a time when a great king will come. They are written in an ancient script that no one can read now, but you who have the crest may be able to read it. It is said the key to uniting the Triforce is hidden there. Now it is time for you to read it. Link glanced at the scroll, half in doubt, but what do you know? Although he had never seen the letters before, he found that he could read them as if they were talking to him. This was written on the scroll. You who control the Triforce of the future, I shall hand down to you the secrets of the Triforce. There are 3: power, wisdom, and courage. When these 3 are brought together, the Triforce will show its maximum power. Of the 3, I have left power and wisdom in the kingdom, but the Triforce of courage I have hidden for a reason. And this is our retroactive way of saying, yeah, in the first game, we only had 2 Triforces, well, now we have 3 because a third one was hidden from history. The king hid its knowledge of it, so that's why no one knew it. So we're working off of an unreliable narrator situation in the first game. Not everybody can use the Triforce. It requires a strong character with no evil thoughts, but an inborn special quality is also necessary. Unfortunately, I have not found such a person during my lifetime. Therefore, I've decided to cast a spell on all of Hyrule. A crest will appear on a young man with that character who has brought up correctly, has gained many kinds of experiences, and reached a certain age. But what will happen if someone else uses the Triforce before then? If it is misused, it will produce many evils. The Triforce's courage is hidden in the Great Palace in the Valley of Death, on the largest island of Hyrule. However, to enter there, you must first fight the Guardians and undo the binding forces. When you have defeated the Guardians, which I made to prevent enemies from invading the 6 palaces, set a crystal in the forehead of the statue you find. When you have set crystals in all of the statues in all 6 palaces, the binding force placed on the Valley of Death will be removed, and you'll be able to enter the Great Palace. There you must fight the last Guardian, and you can obtain the Triforce only by defeating the Guardian. There's nothing to fear. You are the one to get the Triforce. You are the beacon of hope for Hyrule. Impa implored Link, who raised his head slowly after reading the scroll. The magic spell cast upon Princess Zelda will surely be broken if the Triforce is used. Please unite the Triforce and save the princess and bring back peace to Hyrule. Link nodded silently in approval, left the room after taking a long glance at the altar. Then, with a magical sword on his left hand and a magical shield on his right, he set off alone in his long travels. At that time, Ganon's underlings were calling up new allies from the underworld, and were beginning to work devilishly towards the revival of Ganon. Now, as we are going to talk about throughout the course of this playthrough, there is a lot of symbolism related to death, reincarnation, and the plane of existence after death at the end of the day. Down to some of the bosses may have connections to mythology, and certain areas may reference these things. But we'll talk about that as we go. And we're back. I'm gonna drink some water because that's a lot of reading right now. Okay. Let's get this going and try not to cry too much while we play. You guys ready? What happened to the other Zelda we rescued? So she's still running around. The Zelda from the first game is still running around. This is just a different Zelda who's been in an enchanted sleep for probably centuries. Now, a cool thing about the overworld map here is honestly, I would say the map of Zelda 2 shows us more of the landmass than any other game we have. Whew, let's do this. Because we have literally 2 continents and an island, and generally speaking, only... Hold on. This game is going to be a little difficult for me to talk while I play, but the island that the area that I should say the continent that most of the games take place on is only one of them. So, leveling system-wise, I am going to ignore leveling up the health of the magic for a while. Our goal is to max out the attack power as soon as possible. Old Hyrule's the game too. Yep. Oh boy. This song is awesome though. Let's be 100% honest. And there's implication that some of the areas in certain games herald from across the ocean, but we never see that area. Maybe like Spirit Tracks, for example, might be referencing that. But we'll see. Welcome to Rauru, the town of Rauru. And as it's mostly known, yes, these names eventually went on to be the sages from Ocarina of Time. Sorry, I know nothing. Okay, well, you're not very helpful then. Sorry, I know nothing. Yeah, like, it is a different timeline V diffuser, but at the end of the day, the continents, the planet itself is not going to change. Different things will happen in those terrain, but it's still the same thing. Hello, young fellow. Hey there, big boy. If all else fails, use fire. Yes, you burn it with fire, or get a bigger hammer. One of those two. That's all you need to do. Now, I'm at full health, so I don't need to talk to you. She heals you, she takes you inside, and somehow you come out with full health. Only the hammer can destroy a roadblock. Harshness is always the answer, yes. Sorry, you know nothing. Okay, fine, you know nothing. Hello, youngling. Nope, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to the lady in purple. Talk with my father before you leave. Where's Error? We will get to Error eventually. And Bagu. It sucks because the translators messed up the joke because the name Bagu was supposed to just be Bug, so you had 2 characters, Bug and Error, but they mistranslated to Bagu instead of Bug, so it kind of like ruined the joke. In Parappa Desert, use this magic to survive. I could be wrong, but I think this game came out first before Parappa the Rappa. But it's the same word. And I think it means something to do with, like, flat. Like, it's like thin as paper. I think that's what proper means. Break, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think that's what the word parappa implies. It's something like super thin, like paper. Hey there! Well, dude, you are little. Okay. Frickin' short as all hell. Get candle in Power Palace, go west. Okay. You got it. Alright, let's get into this. I'm pretty sure this is the most magically adept Link in the whole series. I mean, he's dealing with a cult, literally, but we don't know how much he personally is getting involved there. Alright, let's do this. Okay, but before we go into the palace over here, let's go ahead and... Jerk. It's fine, we're about to get full health anyways. Boom. Boom. Let's go get a heart piece down here. Wow, the RNG on this is not working well for me right now. Oh, I know the name. There's actually something really interesting about the name of these guys. Give me a second till I get to a safe place and we'll talk about it. Shit! I don't know why this game is so much harder to play when I'm talking nonstop. Because this room right here is actually where I get a lot of deaths. This is because if you hit one, you basically fall into the gap and you dead. You done. Alright, so let me see if I can find the name of these enemies, because there's something really interesting about the etymology behind it. 1 second. So these are called Geldarms. They're basically like giant sandworms that pop out of the ground. But the root Geld, G-E-L-D, is also used in Link to the Past for the Geldmen we find in the Desert of Mystery. And if you take the root G-E-L-D and phonetically sound it out, it comes out sounding like Gerdo, which is where we get the term Gerudo later on for the desert people. No, let's not go that way. I hate you. I swear to God, I have never died this early! What the hell? This is stupid! I've never died of this. Ever. Okay, I'm just gonna run, because I need to get out of this room. Like, legitimately, I have never died of that. Okay, at least we got some extra health. Let's just wait just to stay safe on this. Okay, we're good. So oh my lord. My RNG on this is going horrible. Like, legitimately, like, oh, my RNG is horrible right now. Okay. Now, the first palace is the only one we're gonna legitimately have to grind a little bit. And it's only because I want to get to level 5 attack power before we leave the first palace. And that just gets me into a position where we can take on Death Mountain properly. I have not played Disco Elysium, no. Let's skip that right now. And grab our first key. Moving on. Yes, honestly, it's not Melee Frost Gem that I think of when I hear this song, but it's the version of this with lyrics. I forgot what the artist was, but there's an artist who did a lot of classic video game music, but set lyrics to them. I need to find him. I'll put it up on Discord once I find him on YouTube. Now, these are wolf knights that were said to be loyal to the former king of Hyrule, which is an interesting lore bit, considering where did this race come from in the first place. And here are some more of the bubbles, aka the Hitodama. So there's probably dead souls laying around this place. Recently dead. So maybe some of the cult's followers try to get in here to get to the gem and ended up getting killed by the wolfmen. And boom. Okay, there we go. First attack power up. Now, depending on how this goes, we may need to do use the fairy, because there is a fairy in this dungeon that only spawns once every time you enter. Because there's a room down that elevator that sucks when it comes to not trying to maintain health. Like, a lot of what I do in this dungeon comes down to how well I avoid the bubbles in that room. Perfect. Okay, let's skip you. So... yeah, I did see your thing, Frostimps, like the Dark Knights and Wind Waker. I mean, possibly. Because these enemies, let me see if I can find it real quick. Town of Raru, Aikman, Bagabago, Dead Hunting, Parapa Desert, Proper Palace. There we go. So they're called Wosu, is what they're referred to in the game. But I do know that there was, like, not wolf, but jackal-like Dark Nuts, where in Wind Waker you take off their helmets and they look like jackals. Maybe more like Wolfos. Ooh, P-Bag. Yes. I wouldn't say Wolfos, because those are quadrupeds. These are bipedals. But then again, one of the things I'm going to try to do during this run-through is get to a taxonomy of how different creatures evolved over the eons. Like, for example, like the Manhandla in the first game, that's literally just a series of Dekubabas that grew into have one pod, so they're sharing the same root system, so to speak. They're bipedal sometimes. I mean, they're more feral for sure, if we're going off of the Wolfos as being a ancestor to Wosu. Also, the thing we're going to have to pay attention to is the naming changes. So there's some creatures that are the exact same creature, but there's different names for them, because I think the localizers made some adjustments. Okay, I gotta pay attention here. Throw on a shield, and fingers crossed I don't take too much damage. Okay, run. Ah, crap. Okay, yes, you can stay like that. So we get a little bit of iframes if we stab him. Okay, we didn't do too bad. We did pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna let this little guy... And these are basically Zol, even though in this game they're not called Zol. What are they? Giant ball, swinging maze, bots. Yeah, so these are called bots in the game, and there's bits in the game. Now, in the original, they're called Zol, even though they're essentially the exact same creature. And my hypothesis is that these later become what we know as the Choo-Choos, starting with Wind Waker. That they're all technically, like, there's an evolutionary line between them all. Whoop. Later. There we go. Okay, I'm on. Hop. Now, there's a really cool thing about these guys and their naming. Ooh, yes, another P-Bag. So the P-Bags, there's a random chance for something special to drop, and it's 50-50 if you get a P-Bag or you get a Red Potion. Red Potion maxes out your magic. P-Bags give you 50 to 200. And in this run, the more P-Bags we get, the less grinding we have to do in this palace. So I am happy with that. Got it. Alright, and these bad boys are Iron Knuckles, not the Dark Nuts. So, and it... Personally, I think they're the exact same thing. Dark Nuts and Iron Knuckles, I think they're exactly the same. Because in the first game, they were called Dark Nuts, and this one, they're Iron Knuckles, but they basically are the exact same entity. And there's a lot of debate in the community that they're actually semantically or contextually different. But I don't know if I agree with that. Oh, you dildo. But I haven't I haven't received a legitimate reason why they're different. And personally, my headcanon is they're not. Let's not use this shield. Because either way, I'm gonna probably want to get... There we go. I'm probably gonna want to get the, fairy before we go to the boss room. Which would require me to leave the palace entirely and re-enter so the fairy respawns. I don't think this game has Dark Nuts. I'll double... Like, I have a... Shit. The Wolfsu suck solely because they steal your experience if you get hit. Which is what just happened, you little jerk. But I do have a list of all the enemies as they appear in the game, so if I... Actually, I can control F my notes. And see if I can find it. I'll double check, though. Okay, so let's get out of here and head right back in. What year this came? I think this is 1988 was when this game came out, if I remember correctly. Okay. Sometimes this statue will have stuff like potions and things like that, but I think it's really only Dungeon 2, Dungeon 4, and maybe another one that has some that actually drops things. The Maze Palace is definitely there. You can grind that starting room so much. It's insane. Whoop. Okay. The other benefit is it respawns all the Stalfos Knights, so we can take these boys out. And that gives us extra XP, so there's less grinding in this place. Oop. Let's pause here so I can look at that. Your dad let you play this on his old NES? Dude, it's... Yeah. I played it a lot, but I could never, like, get past the first couple palaces when I was younger. Shit. Okay. There we go. Okay, so essentially we're going to want to have our weapon, our attack up to level 4 before we put the crystal in the statue. Your cousin accidentally hit the restart button, wiped his Dude, that's rough. Beautiful. Skip. Bum, 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 bum. I don't need the red potion, but okay, I'll take it. Weirdly enough, the red potions are great if you need it, but if you don't, I hate getting them because I'd rather get P-bags. Or just get experience in general. Get away. Come on. Get out of here. So there is an issue with these guys. Hold on. Let's skip that again. These guys are called Guma. Now, there is another enemy in the game who's one of the bosses that the translators, they looked at the artwork for the Guma and thought it was the boss, or it was this vice versa, where they looked at the boss and thought it was the Guma enemies, and so they named what was the boss was supposed to be called the Guma, but instead they named it after these guys, which is just like they fucked up entirely. Alright. Not much Pirate Gamer. We read the instruction manual, we ranted a little bit. I got my first death. Alright, so this guy right here, we're going to talk about him quite a bit. This is Boss 1, Horsehead. Come on, get over here. Done. His buddy Bullhead took leave of absence. No, the Bullhead might be showing up later in the game via Diffuser. Alrighties, so his original name is Masaru, but in English we call him Horsehead. Now my position is that he's based upon a horse face from Chinese mythology, because there are two creatures that guard the gates of the Chinese afterlife, and it is a horse head and an ox head. One named Mezu and one named Gozu, which is why they messed up the thing, because they called it Guma Gozu. And they basically are the guardians of the underworld, which I find really interesting, because the whole part of the game is they're trying to sacrifice, they're doing a ritual blood sacrifice of Link in order to open the gates of the underworld to resurrect Ganon from it. So of course we're confronting creatures that are literally guardians of the underworld. Now, granted, the King of Hyrule is the one that put him here, but that shouldn't really matter, right? And I have an entire section here about who these two people were in life before they became these entities. The Chinese variant, because the Chinese variants of these two is Nito and Mamiyan. But in, I think, Japanese, it's Gozu and Mezu, the ruler of Hell's King Enma. But anyways, moving on with life. Now, as I said, we're going to be grinding this palace first, which means we are not going to place this in here. So we are going to skip and go right back in. So we're just going to grind this outright. It might take 2 or 3, like maybe another 2. Probably another 2 runs of this. And if I remember correctly, we get 90 XP going through the Stalfos, and then another 210 XP once we drop down the elevator. So 300 per run, unless we get a P bag. Boom. And that's why P bags are awesome, because it saves us a lot of time. So anyways, how are you guys doing? And I promise this is the longest we're going to grind in the game. There's going to be a couple other spots where we do repeat a few things, but it's going to be nowhere near as tedious as this. Ooh, P-Bag. There we go, 200. That's their names in SMT. One of these days, I'm going to get back to the SMT and Persona. Because I did watch a full playthrough of SMT1, and I started SMT2, but I never watched more than like the first half an hour of it. And I played through Persona 1, but I haven't finished Snow Queen Quest yet. Mizuki and Gozuki, yeah. Gotcha. You have LPs of both? Nice. It's just, like, honestly, I have so many other projects in the works right now. The idea of stopping everything and playing through, like, 20 games just so I can know what's going on, it'd take way too much time. Especially because this year I'm trying to get everything ready for the Control Resonant release. Okay. So long story short, we need to have 90 XP before we head down the elevator, and we're all good. Which means what I might do is get to the Southwest Nights, go back to the entrance, and then go back through again. That way we guarantee it. But again, that could be thrown out if we randomly get a red potion, because then we don't get the XP. Which sucks! You're trying to get... hold on 1 second. They're getting red potions, so that just messed up the cycle of it. But it's okay, we're going back to the entrance anyways. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so let's head right back to the entrance now. At some point, you're gonna end up recording all of Megaten? Dude, you are not going to sleep for like 5 years if you try to record all of Megaten. With all dialogue options and optional scenes. Oh, shit! Okay, that's what I get for not watching the screen and just jumping around like a bad, insane person. Now, the only positive side of the bubbles is they don't really damage you, they take your magic. Which, we have no need for magic right now, so I really don't care. And it's going to be even worse break if you also translate all of the Japanese-only books that went along with it. Which I know you are doing some, like, developer stuff and magazine articles that don't have English translations. You're translating them right now. You gotta step away. Okay, hold on. This game's kind of hard to look away when you're in the palaces, because things can sneak up on you real quick, so give me 2 seconds. Shite. I might have to go back again right now. Because even if I go up and take care of the Goru as well, it's still not going to be enough to get us up to 900. The RNG was really good for the B-bags for a second, and now it's just worse. Ah, run it back. And then we got really unlucky. You really need to finish your Futaba video before you do the club book translations. I can't wait to see what you come up with. How long have you been working on that for, like 4 or 5 months? Because I remember we've been talking about it for a while. So, question, guys. I've heard some discussion about why the Parappa Palace is here on this desert, like, at the edge of the ocean right here. And some have suggested this position is literally a, it's like a lookout tower in case there's invasions from across the ocean. Because remember, everything leading up to this... Actually, no. Hold on. I need to pay attention so I don't lose more XP. Like, because I have heard that it was made because there was invasions from Ganon's forces coming from the east across the ocean. But the problem with that is this was built by the former king of Hyrule, meaning this was long before Ganon's invasion. So that hypothesis wouldn't work unless this was like at a point in time when there was a different civilization across the ocean that they were... Oh my god. See what I mean? Like, the red potions just screw you up. Unless at one point there was a different civilization, and eventually they unified. Well, remember in the first game they mentioned that the total landmass of Hyrule had greatly diminished, which is 100% accurate. We do get to see the area where the first game took place in here, eventually. Because geographically speaking, where we're at is, you remember where Death Mountain was in the first game? Well, we're north of Death Mountain, on the other side of the cliff, or the other side of the peak. Boom. Okay, so now we're over 900. We're good. We can drop down and finish up. Specifically the lands of Holodrum. My opinion of the Diffuser is the Holodrum and Labrina exists in the eastern continent, which we do visit in this game. Which is why, like, I've been analyzing the hell out of the Zelda 2 map because it implies a lot about the world at large. So you're saying we're in the Hyrule's equivalent of Canada? Yes. That's exactly where we're at right now. There we go. And again, I'm not settled on the Holodrum and Labrina hypothesis, but it's something I have considered. Oh, wow. Sorry, my neck just snapped like a mofo. Okay. Boom. Oh my gosh, P-back? Yes! Okay, so we went from 50 up to 200, so we'll be at 250. We'll use 50 to drop it down. I'm gonna go ahead and get health right now. Sorry, I'm doing math in my head to see where we're gonna end up. Cancel. Cancel, and we're good. We have to be above the 150 in order to get up to the what we need before we finish the palace off. So having the health up early here just helps us get through the get to the next thing before the second dungeon. There we go. You could hear the neck snap. Shoot! You've never considered min-maxing this game? Oh no, that's like the only way to not grind Lord Calidus. Because look at all that free XP we just got. The way to break this game is rather than just leveling up normally, you specifically wait to put the gem in until you're in a position where you can get, like, sometimes you can get 5,000 or 6,000 XP for free. You just have to wait till the right time before you drop this off. Alrighties. So with that, we are done with Palace 1, and I'm going to show you guys a cool trick in a second. Now, the great thing about having this much health now, or this much damage now, is those little sandworms we can kill in one shot now. Alright. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn on my second controller. Watch this. Pause. And I'm going to save. And that's going to bring us back with all of our life. So we just got our free life back. No need to kill ourselves to get our health back and do a game over. And it teleports us all the way back over to here. Now, the only downside of doing this is we miss out on a little bit of XP, but by a little bit, I mean like 5 or 6 experience. So it really doesn't matter. And these are our moblins, because they're still called moblins with an L. No, Zoe, hold on. The cat is begging to come in. Give me a second. I don't trust her in this game, only because if she jumps in front of the screen, I am screwed. Here, let me get you your food. Let's go. Alright. And we're back. So the save in-game is really fast game over. It's not a game over break. We're just saving and restarting the game. That's my loophole. Okay. These are called levers. Ah, Jesus. These little things are levers, and we're finally going to get some Octoroks. I don't think we see those things in any other game, to be honest. Come on, hop up. Got it. Alright, and we got our first magic potion, so our max MP just increased. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, ba, bum. Let me scroll down in my list. Okay. Yes, levers were the most annoying thing ever in Ocarina Frost Gem. They look a little different than they did now. Alright, so before we head over to Tantaro Desert, we're going to head first over to our dear sweet town of Ruto. Now, why Ruto is way the hell up here, who knows? It should be near the water, but again, the conception for the sages wasn't around at this time, it was just the names. So if anything, the sages are named after these villages in real world history and not the other way around. but there is a caveat to that, which we'll discuss by the time we get to the 4th town. Sorry, I know nothing. Please, let me... Oh, I don't need to help you, because I'm already at full health, but sure, I'll go inside. I can restore your life. I'm sure. Hello. I am Error. Here, we found Error! That is literally his name, and not a... It was not a, accident. It was intentional. Find magic in a cave south of the castle. We already got that. Thank you, though. So, he gives you clues on where to find all this optional stuff. Goria of Tantari stole our trophy. Okay. Now, we don't need to talk to her to get that quest, but I like to do it just because it makes more sense. I don't have a crystal ball, or Link doesn't have a crystal ball and knows what people need. Use keys in the palaces if they are found. Yes, thank you, I know that. I know that. Do not go south without a candle. Already got a candle. Thank you, though. So the biggest thing that annoys me about this particular little fetch quest is the fact that the localizers didn't translate it, or they chose not to translate it properly. And that just resets the ache. So these, instead of being called keys, they're called aches in this game. Don't ask me why. And the reason I left and came back is if you don't, it'll go to the left, which takes it over lava, but if you go back in it, the RNG sets it to the right. Oh my gosh, Cat, Zoe, hold on. She's gonna scratch at the door for hours if I don't let her in. Okay, please don't jump in front of the screen though, sweetheart. Okay. Okay. I think my death ratio is gonna go up like crazy now that she's here. Okay. Now, someone else tell me that this does not look like a standard... now she's trying to get in front of the screen already. This is not a trophy. This is literally a little goddess statue. This is a statue of the goddess right here. Come on, you can sit on my lap, but not in front of the screen. They changed the translation from goddess statue to trophy because they couldn't use that word, I guess? I don't know. Which is really interesting because at this point in Hyrule's history, a lot of their theology, it has a, I wouldn't say connection to, because it's not a direct one-to-one parallel. Jerk. But it's very similar to Catholicism. Well, technically, there's more than 3 goddesses. There's 3 creator goddesses. Shoot. There's 3 creator goddesses, Calidus. But there's also the goddess Hylia, which is more like a caretaker. She was left in charge of the creation after the golden goddesses left. So most likely, this is just an emblem of Hylia. Granted, the concept of Hylia didn't exist at this point in the game, so in the series, so take that what you will. But the fact that we have one of the wise men's daughter is secretly holding on to an old goddess statue, while the rest of the theology in the area is more akin to Catholicism, is kind of... World building is kind of interesting, because there are some people who hold to the old original faith before the new one came in. EMD, you're not allowed to yell at me about the CDI games like Break has been doing for like 6 months. With this, you can jump very high. Awesome. Now we got the jump spell. So we still have some of the old wise men, which are probably gonna be also descendant from the ones from the Downfall Timeline's version of the Imprisoning War. The goddess's lore constantly changed. I mean, what do you mean, Frostjam? Like, give me specifics on that, because I don't think it's really changed, per se. It's just, it's been added on to. Dude, hey, break. I did not agree. Actually, I can't lie. I did agree in writing. And please don't publish those messages. I'll do whatever you want. And I think the agreement was that you'd have to be on voice chat and guest for the whole CDI game if I was going to do it. Sorry, I'm like half trying to keep Zoe from jumping off my lap onto the keyboard in front of the monitor while I'm playing, which is really tough. Like, if we were playing any other Zelda game, I wouldn't care as much, but this one is the Dark Souls of the Zelda franchise. Oh my gosh, stop it! Okay, so luckily we're gonna get to the new town before we need to worry about this. And got them both. Nice. And so these are harder versions. What are these called? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. What are these things called? Town of Rudo, Tantari Desert. Oh, and the terms Tantari, which is where we got the goddess statue, the information I found is it refers to something that's flat and quiet, and the name that's Tan, and Tari is the name of an Ija tribe in Africa. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, let me see if I can find this. Bagu, Wise Man. Hold on. Ache. Red aches. Sleeping. No. Teacher spell. Okay, so so the red ones are called Ache Man, and is a ache that was cursed by Ganon's magic that can now turn into the form of a human. So originally they were basically just keys, and we're gonna use Ache and Keys interchangeably. They're freaking keys. Let's be real. Let's scroll down. There we go. And jump. Ache Man, not Eggman. Like ache, like I got punched in the arm and it's aching. Zoe, please don't. No, Zoe, please don't. Zoe. If I die because you don't know how to just lay on my lap and rest. You know what? I'll take the magic. Don't need it, but I'll take it. So this whole area is called Moroge Swamp, which I think is really kind of cool because of something that happens later on in this area. Etymologically, the closest thing I can find is it's probably just a play on the term morgue. And that's really it. Alright, should I... I'm trying to decide if I want to skip a section. Okay, I'm just going to say this so we don't have to backtrack too much, because I don't like going across these bridges. So when we get to the next town, which is right across down that path, there's a guy who's like a bridge guard, and they says, hey, they basically won't let us cross the bridge, but we need to get Bagu's permission. So let's go find Bagu. Jerk. So these are so much easier now that I have more attack power. But normally we would have to go all the way there and then find Bagu's house in the woods. Bagu is my name. Show my note to the riverman. Kaboom. Because anytime we have these little Super Mario dry bone fishes, it's just, ugh. No joke, once we get to the Eastern Continent, these things are a menace. Okay. So our goal essentially is before we get into Palace 2 proper, we're already at level 6 attack power. So we need to get that 325 up to 3,000. Usually my runs, I do like a little bit of excursion into the palace, and then as I exit and come back in, then we're good. Okay. Zoe, I need you to just... No, please don't sleep on the key. Okay, I gotta move the keyboard. Okay, keyboard is going over here, so you don't sleep on it. Because apparently the entire desk that has nothing on it, it cannot be your bed. It has to be right where the keyboard is. Alright. Water town of Saria. So for some reason, Saria is the water town instead of Rudo. But again, this came out first. There was no conceptualization of any of this. I won't hold it against them. Hello. Eyes of Ganon are everywhere. Be careful. Sorry. Hello there. I am too busy to talk about a stranger. Oh, shoot. So yeah, and then we have the Eyes of Ganon right there. Oh, I forgot. Hold on. Let's talk to that lady first before I do this. Because again, this makes sense. I lost my mirror. Okay. Let's go get your mirror then. What happened to that guy? He was a ache. He was a Keese in disguise. Basically a spy of Ganon's forces, the cult that has been trying to track us down and bleed us dry, literally. You found a mirror under the table. Now, why are you leaving your mirror in a random person's house? What are you doing over there? We never hear about them after Skyward. That's not true. Ocarina of Time happens way after Skyward Sword, Frost Gem. So I do have some hypotheses about the Golden Goddesses kind of separating, like not being as prevalent in the cultural consciousness, which tends to happen. I mean, religions die and new ones emerge all the time. Okay, we officially have a life spell now. Probably the most important thing in the whole run. Actually, no, I take that back. Probably the barrier spell is going to be the most important thing in the whole run later on, but it's not the point. And here we have a graveyard with some Christian crosses. So first things first, let's go ahead and heal. Head inside. Granny will get our magic back, and we're maxed health again. And we have a dot here, whatever these things are called. Zzz, you're sleeping. Hey, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Let me be! Master is in woods, north of river. So this is Bagu's house. Or, kind of. Apparently Bagu has a pet Zol, aka Choo Choo, that can talk. I don't know. It's weird. She's the progenitor of the sacred bloodline. Wait, hold on. I need to catch up on this. You know Bagu, then I can help you cross. Okay, so we showed him Bagu's note, and now we can cross the river here to the south part, which is on our way to Death Mountain. I mean, like, my opinion about a lot of the religion changes in the Zelda franchise is synchronization, where you have older ideas get filtered into newer theologies, where they like kind of borrow from pre-existing. Like a lot of the pagans imagery they have in the Ear of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they still have the same three figures of the bull, the owl, and I think it's the serpent, which is representing the three golden goddesses. Same thing with the three dragons, but they kind of have like their own pagan-style animal imagery to represent something that's pre-existing. So they're still talking about the same quote-unquote thing, but they're using different symbols. So, I don't know. You think Hylas used form of the 3 golden goddesses? Negative. There's no evidence for that. Okay, so Death Mountain, the easiest way to get through this bad boy is just go right. You can get lost in this area if you try to go left and right, just go right. How early in gameplay can one try to jump ahead and grab the Master Key? The Master Key... You can't in this one. Because at the bare minimum, you need to have the flute. And the flute you pick up in the Island Palace. So Palace 5. And you can't get to Palace 5 until you get the item from Palace 4. So... Or no, Palace 3, which is the main... No? Yeah, no, you can't. Because before you can cross the ocean to the Eastern Continent, you need to finish Palace 3 on the islands, and then from there you need to have the boots from the Maze Palace, and then you need to have the flute from the island. Yeah, so it's or the Ocean Palace, I should say. Okay, I need to pay attention here because this is one of the toughest areas in the game, so I'm gonna shh. Oh crap! You know what? Because I'm just gonna go ahead and head right back. I'm just gonna head right back because I am not starting this run with damage. That will not happen. For some reason, I always forget there's a random moblin right there. And one thing I've noticed is that the only timeline to use the Catholic and Christian imagery is the Downfall timeline. And I honestly am curious if the reason why is because the whole idea behind Link's death essentially made him like a Christ figure. Like, that would make sense, right? Where they kind of, like, started to treat him and revere him in a simple way because of his death and sacrifice. You know what I mean? But, again, there's no evidence for that whatsoever. It's just a curiosity of mine. Because we only see this in the Downfall timeline, not the other ones. And even if there's no evidence for that to have happened, I still think it's an interesting idea. Granted, it'd be completely headcanon, but whatever. Okay, for real this time. Come on. Problem solved that time. Okay. The red Dakra are really the hardest things for this. Shoot. Okay. Okay, we're good. Moving on with life. Come on. Come on. Missed it. There we go. Shoot! That could have been bad. Okay, I think there's a red dock. Oh, yes, P-Bag, give it to me. I think there's a red dock right here. Yeah. Shoot! Okay, I messed that up really bad. There we go. Oh no, this is an orange dock or a regular. These are like crocodile-like enemies, which do show up in Link to the Past. I think that's the only other game they're in, if I remember correctly. Shoot, come on. Let me go. Just run, just run, just run. We got it. Okay, perfect. Oh god, this room. Come on, I need you guys to drop. Okay. Get over here. Perfect. 0 damage. Those guys can wipe out like a third of your health in one strike, which is why they're kind of scary. There's a wish theory that the Link to the Past, the wish that Link makes in Link to the Past, gave the Link to the Ocarina of Time the power to beat Ganon, causing the downfall split. That is one hypothesis I have seen, and I'm gonna have to look at the original Japanese translation for what happened during that scene before I pass judgment. But I've also heard that the downfall timeline was the intended timeline, and Zelda using the Ocarina of Time to help meddle with things essentially caused the other twos to be created. But if Zelda and Link did nothing happened, then the downfall timeline would have happened. Which the interesting piece of evidence was that they don't call it the Fallen Hero timeline, it's called the downfall timeline. We just all presume that's because Link fell. But that's just a hypothesis I've heard running around, and I'm not going to say much past that. Oh, shite. Okay, I'm already half health. Fuck. Yeah, just those 2 strikes, and this whole run is kind of screwed up real quick. Okay, let's fingers crossed. What I need is a potion, like, honestly. If I can get a blue potion, I might pop a heal. Okay, move away, move away. There we go. Move away. Because I'm not jumping over you, because you're going to start moving the second I try to jump over you. There we go. Oh, there we go. Yes. Full health, and let's get some magic up. Shit. Oh my god, full health. Okay, so the cool thing about red potions is if you pop one, pop a heal, it'll keep refilling. So you can basically get more out of the red potion than you otherwise would have. Good enough. Fingers crossed. If we can get another blue potion here, I will be happy. If not, we'll survive. But there is a red potion in this room that will stay here if we don't use it, but you can only have it once. Oh, yes. Perfect. I still don't think that'll give us enough for another life, but it can give us a shield, worst case scenario. Okay, this is the hardest section right here. Fingers crossed. Okay. Specifically, there's a room with 2 red Dakra, and there's a RNG where one can respawn, even though they're not supposed to respawn. Yes! Give it to me. That's it. That's what I needed. Now we get a free heal. One and 2 and 3. Okay. This area feels bad without the down thrust attack. If we had the down strike already, this would be a lot easier, but you can't really get to it just yet. Shit! Okay. I messed up. Shit. Okay. Oh no, we missed the P-bag! Shit. Shit. Okay. That would have been 200 extra XP there. But we didn't take damage, so I'd rather miss out on the XP than take damage. And the hammer. As long as we get the hammer, that's all that matters at the end of the day. You have to go to work tomorrow. No, dude, no problem. Wimpy, take it easy. Thanks for hanging out. Hammer time. Okay. Which direction are you going to? Okay, we're good. I always pause because I want to see what direction he's running into before I jump. Otherwise, he could possibly bump into me. Now, this transition always annoys me because 90% of the time, the road's cleared and we can head all the way out and we're fine. Sometimes that dock row reappears, so I want to do it very slowly. And he's not here. Okay, whew, we're good. Because I can't tell you how many times I'm kind of like just running through this area and I just run face first into him without realizing he's standing in front of me. Okay. I'll take it. We're full magic, full health. You know what? No better position than that. Come on. Are you going to drop down? There we go. So these are cursed keys. And we never see that again. I mean, because we do have Vyres in the first game, which are more like vampire-like enemies that other keys come from. And now we have something similar, but it's cursed bats. So who knows? All right. So cool little area. Where we are right now is the entire overworld map of the first game. So this is Pinnacle Rock, where Ganon's Tower is. So Ganon's Tower literally is under this rock, or Spectacle Rock. So this is where Ganon's Tower was in the first game. This is the graveyard in the west. Below that is where the Lost Woods was. And there's the lakes in the center of it. So literally the entirety of Zelda 1 is just this small area. And then we cross Death Mountain North, and you're into the area, the main part of it. But during the invasion, that's the prologue of the first game. All of Hyrule's territories, which was both these continents and the island, kind of they lost ground, and this is their last bastion. Just to show how dire the whole thing was. And health potion. What I love about this drop is if you have low health here, you can heal yourself, grab it, and you get full health back. Or if you don't have magic, you grab it, wait for it to go up, heal yourself, and then it'll go up fully again. So no matter what, we get max magic, max health by dropping down here. And if we ever have issues, then I stop here and grab this for a free heal. Which we don't need it because we're already maxed out. Okay. Now I've died in this area so many times because of these damn Octoroks. And it's because of these ones right here. So you see the guy off to the right? If you just jump, he'll spit and hit you with a rock while you're in midair, and then you will fall to your death into the lava. So my trick is just to go far enough over so you see him jumping, but not so far that he can shoot a rock. And then you get a clear space there. Okay, we're good. There's a good kitty. There's a good kitty. That is my hand and not your chew toy. Please don't claw it. Ow. Ah, we don't need it. It's kind of crazy. We're only at half of what we need to get to the next level, which kind of sucks. This is where you got stuck. So I'm gonna pop a shield here just because of stuff like that. Okay, nope, and that. Jerk. All right, we're home free. Any thoughts if Zelda or if Nintendo does a Zelda 2 remake? I'd like in the same style or telling the story with different gameplay. And now this is where the weirdness comes into. We're now in the harbor town of Mido. So there is no town of Impa in this game. because Impa's a character in the game, so they used a different thing. So Mido is the name of this town, but Mido is not a sage in Ocarina of Time. However, in the original designs for it, Mido was one of the sages. I think it's supposed to be like the Sage of Wind, which the Forest Temple originated from. But besides that, in the original game code, there was certain items that were the seals. So you had the medallions, and you had the seals of, like the seal of Impa, the seal of Mido, the seal of Darunia, the seal of Saria. Now, the seal of Mido was in the game code, but those items never came out. So he was associated with the sages originally, and they decided to change it. Most likely because they didn't want to have two Kokiri sages. It just changed during design, but that was the intention. Oh, okay, cat, sorry. Can I have my hand back so I can exit out this sign? Please? Or that he was the original Sage of Shadow, who knows. Hello. Hello. You know what? I will take your health. Take me into your house and bring me back to full health. Weirdly enough, Lemon, Mido has more than just the town named after him, which we'll see shortly. He has an entire region named after him as well. Ask Error of Ruto about the palace. Okay, we'll go talk to Error, or yeah, we'll talk to Error later. Hello there, child. The island palace in the south has a raft. Good to know, thank you. And why do you know that? And hop! Let's shoot. Hiya! And we're heading inside the church. Let's not dwell too much on what rejuvenates Link to full power. I mean, it's milkshakes. That's what it is. We literally just get some, like, chocolate milkshake. That's it. When you press jump, press downwards to stab. Boom. So now, this is the best freaking thing in the game. It makes everything so much easier. And let's max out our magic again. You have some serious floor layouts of this church. You know what? I don't know. The front door's locked, but if you jump into the window, you somehow end up on the first floor. Let's not question it too deeply. Please, my daughter is sick. Help her. This fetch quest is actually kind of interesting, because it plays into a lot of other things in Zelda lore. But we'll talk about that in a moment, once we get there. Okay, before we go too deep, let's go ahead and grab another heart container. Or heart piece, I should say. Boom. So our goal by the end of the second palace is to end it with attack level 7, magic 3, and life 3. Ooh. Key bags definitely help with that. What's your take on the name of the new enemy? I don't know what the name of the new enemy is, Frost Gem. I didn't watch the second trailer. So if they've announced something, I am not aware of it. It's not really spoilers, because like I'd presume there's new enemies, to be honest, but yeah, I don't know anything past that. No, I have not died. I only had the one death right at the beginning in an area I've never died in before. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. Come on. Now these things are little rodents. I forgot what, hold on. What are they? What are these guys called? Egg, Mew. So the little spikes are called Mew. The skeleton fish are called Bago Bago, and supposedly they were animated by unholy magic, which Garuda magic tends to have to do with necromancy a lot, so it makes sense that you'd have reanimated skeletons. We see that in Twilight Princess with the Style Lord, if I remember correctly. But that was Zant doing it, using Ganon's power, so... is what it is. You like to see the sages and the maidens again? Honestly, I'd like to... It's hard to say what they're doing with that, because... I think the connection between Link to the Past and Link Between the Worlds, there was some confusion that went in there. First, the simple fact that now there's 8 sages instead of 6 descendants. But I don't think that there's a relation there, because we have the 6 maidens who descended from the wise men who sealed Ganon during the original imprisoning war, but they're all human. And then you have the descendants of the sages, which did awaken in that timeline, so that's fine. Because technically the downfall timeline is downstream of the adult timeline. Alright. Before we rant about that, now we are entering this area. This place, again, I mentioned, is called Maruge Swamp, which I think is a play on the term morgue. It's the same shit. I need to stop talking, because this room sucks. This room sucks. Because literally the same letters are used, they just shift around the R and the G. Leave me alone! And the reason why I think it's interesting naming scheme, because of what we find in the back. Ooh. Okay. Full health. And full magic. Is in the back of the Morgue Swamp, we find the Water of Life. The ability to heal and bring back whatever is hidden in the Morgue Swamp. Theming. The game's cartridge size is only 256 kilobytes. Yeah, it's... They really got creative in how little these games' size were. Okay. Nope, don't. Oh, you jerk. Really? You're a dildo. Alright. So now we can head back and give the Water of Life to the lady so she can heal her sick daughter. But the Water of Life also shows up in the first game. It's the potions. The potions you get are in the game manual are called the Water of Life, which is... How do you make it? One hypothesis I have is that because the original lady's cave is right next to a fairy fountain, that possibly fairy waters are used in the creation of the Water of Life. I think some of the mangas show that the water can also be used to, like, heal crops. Like, if you had dead soil that had been, like, burned and salted, you can put Water of Life on, and it'll bring the land back, so you can use it for agriculture. That's, again, in one of the mangas. If that's what they were going for, I'm not sure why they wouldn't just call it morgue. At least in the Japanese. I have no idea. What is it? Is it the same translation in the Japanese release break? I don't know what the... Wait, where did that lady go? I don't know what the game manual says. There's a map in the game manual that'll help. Where is that lady? There she is. I was like, where'd you go? Okay, let me heal your daughter. And I will go see the sage in the back. Now, I presume that these guys are like Sahasrara, where they're descended from this the 7 wise men. This magic will give you power. We can now have the fairy spell. Literally, we can turn into a fairy. Saria knew we were a fairy boy the whole time. Yeah, same Frost Gem. Like, I never got the obsession with maxing out graphics at the detriment of everything else. Because a lot of the reasons why consoles and games are so expensive is because you have to have the hardware that can run a game, but the only reason you have to run a game to that degree with that kind of specs is because of the graphics. We can have games with lower res graphics. It's perfectly fine. Oh yeah, Malin, not Saria. Sorry, I'm dumb. Ignore me. She also called us Grasshopper. Or at least, sorry, Romani called us Grasshopper in Majora. I'm dumb, ignore me. Okay, so let's go talk to Arrow real quick. Even though I don't need to, because I know where I'm going, but just for the fun of it. South of King's Tomb in Mito is a tunnel. So that's just a clue in case you don't know how to get to the third palace. Arrow will let you know, which is fine. There's a point where increasing resolution of textures is meaningless. I mean, personally, I think Super Nintendo had some of the best art style that that is still good to this day, personally. And then since then, when they jumped into 3D, that's when they had to start working their way back up. All right, let's do this. Now I mentioned, hold on. So I mentioned that there's more than one place named after Mito, and that's this swamp. This whole swamp is Midoro Swamp. So we have the town of Mido right next to Midoro Swamp. And some have tried to suggest that this is kind of like the ruins of where the Kokiri village was, and hence why his name's stamped on it. It's in the middle of the mountains. This is literally a swamp at the top of a mountain range. So I don't really abide by that. Oh my god, I hate these guys. Ah, shit, we missed the P-bag again. Okay, here we are. Before we get going, I do need to go on a quick bio break. I will be right back. So the Japanese manual is quite literally motoge, so it's the same. Gotcha. Alright, I'll be right back in. Outlands, we are back. No, Zoe. Don't step in front of the monitor. Alright, sorry, let me scroll down. Oh, there we go, good girl. Hold on, I need to check something real quick on my notes. god, cat. Because there's an interesting little thing. I actually have a note here in my notes to ask Break about a translation. So, and I never did ask you. So those little insect bugs that we see running around the whole time, is that those beetles found in the caves, is in the cartoon. They are Ganon's main mode of transportation. He really rides them, but they are said to eat life energy. Now, what that means or what that implies, I don't know. That could simply just mean that they're eating, like, they're like plant eaters. They're eating life, but there's also the other suggestion that it's like literally life energy itself in the abstract sense. And I'm not sure which one they were going for. But that's in the cartoon. So we shouldn't really accept it 100% as canon to the game, but it's something interesting to track down regardless. Like Metroid's? Yeah, kind of. Well, I don't know. They don't really confirm whether they're talking about like the abstract life, like the spark of the soul that animates the body, or if they're talking about just like the body itself as life or something else. No idea. Okay. And Zoe decided to leave us. Okay. So there's going to be 2 times we're going to run through this pal. Well, not twice, but there's 2 excursions. Part 1 and Part 2. And these are no longer ropes. Let me scroll back down. Oh, shoot. Dick. Okay, give me a second. I should probably pause when I scroll down. So these are called Aneru. But let's be real, they're basically ropes, the serpents. But in this game, for some reason, they have to take the title of Aneru. No idea why. Now, the reason that this palace is here, I think might be because this is literally like the mountain peak. So at the peak of the mountain, we have a swamp, and then this palace here. This feels like more like a watchtower, overlooking the northern and the southern kingdom, because you can see all the way to the bottom of Death Mountain to the south, and all the way into the Great Palace, which is to the north. Or no, the Central Palace? I think it's called the Central Palace. It's where the Royal Kingdom is, or the main castle is. Life energy be with that, which is a pretty common word. Okay. But I think you'd have to check, like, the wiki for that, because that's the only place I found it. It's not in the manual that they mention that. Bum, 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 doo. Okay. Let's see if we can get through this. I'm gonna try and let these guys come to me, because that statue... Oh! You know what? I'll take it. Okay. Because that thing starts shooting us, so I don't want to fight out in the open. I still think we'll probably be able to get to what I require before we get to the bottom of this. I may have to run back down here a second time. Jerk. Stop it. Just to make sure that we have enough. Because we want to end this with 7 attack, 3 magic, and 3 health. I don't have an episode number, but if you look at the wiki for Lever, or a Louder, Lowder, it should have a link at the bottom that says, like, other media. Ooh, well, take that. Give me that. Okay, so yeah, normally what I'll do here is I'll head back to the top because the statue has a red potion. So we can max out our magic, but I don't want to grab it just yet. I think I'm going to go back down to the bottom, which sadly I normally don't have to do, but we missed, I want to say 300 XP because we walked right past some P bags. So I'm kind of behind on my experience. But at least we can get another 100 before we move on. Ba bum 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 bum. Ooh, I'll take you, dick. Ah. Bum 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 bum. Ooh, yes! Boom. That does everything we need right there. Shit. Ooh, there we go. Just one round of good RNG and I am a happy guy. You don't know if this ever released in Japan? Gotcha. Yeah, that is true. Why are we looking for a... It was never made for them. Yeah. Okay, never mind. I sent you down a wild goose chase. Bum, ba, bum. Alright. I think that'll be good enough before we start heading downstairs, because usually I finish this with extra XP, so we should be fine. So let's pop the life, grab you, max out our health, or our magic, and we're good to go. Stop it. I hate those little blue Stalfoses because they just hop. They think they got the hops, but I have better hops. Ah, shit. Easy enough. Alright, so these guys, let me pull up my notes real quick. They're called Raw. And they are literally just dragon-headed statues that were animated. Now, animated by who? Who knows? But these are described in the manual as being set up by the former King of Hyrule, so I don't know if he used magic to animate these, or if something else happened. Okay, I think that's enough. Oh, crap, you dick! You dick! I offset them! That was my bad. I offset these guys. I should just jump over them and ignore it. Okay. Are you gonna... Okay, you leap to your death as well. Or not. Okay, he's going that direction, so we're Sage! That's why I don't trust these motherfuckers. Because they jump very chaotically. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Normally this is not how you're supposed to... Ah, shite! You dick. Stop it. There we go. Maxed out. So we have a little bit more breathing room now, because every time you level up health, you get max HP, and every time you level up magic, same thing. So we can get through the dungeon much easier without having to worry about our health and magic too much. Now this guy will drop a red potion every single time, so we're going to save him in reserve in case we need it. I mean the dragon statue head right there. Okay, let's go ahead and let's hold off on this and get health first just so we can top ourselves off. And then we'll worry about magic for the rest of this run. And, okay, the Innetter are one-hit KOs now. And so are the... Okay, max health. And this room... Or no, I think the room after this sucks. I mean, this room sucks too! Ow! Yeah, you can kill the bubbles. They just have so much health that you don't realize you can kill the bubbles until you have a lot more attack power. Ooh, yes! Give me the pea bag. Okay. Perfect. And if we're really lucky with the pea bags, we may be able to get more than 733 by the end, but as long as we get 733, I'm happy. Oh. Hey, Brick. Just because I said P-bag does not mean I'm talking about that. Okay. We're officially at 733. Now, let me check something real quick. So, Zelda 2 leveling chart. Okay, there we go. So, we're at 3, so the next one for magic is going to be 700. So we basically have to be above 700 XP before we finish the dungeon. Or if we get greedy, try to get life 4, then we have to be above 800. But that means we're going to have to get 1200 XP before the end, which I don't think we can do. So we're just going to be happy with 733. So what we just got, the glove lets us break blocks now. Awesome. No, I know the number 6, but we're going to get 7 before we finish. By the time we put the gem in the thing, it'll bring us up to 7. And these are Moas. They're just little spirits running around. You dildo. Okay, go away, fire. Yes, I'm playing with power. Oh god, these rooms suck. I've never figured out how to get past these guys without taking damage. Like, if I get lucky and the beam hits the shield, cool, but it never happens for me on the first try. Right there! Perfect! And I'm not gonna worry about you. Goodbye. Oh. Bum, 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 bum. Wait, no. Hold on, we gotta go to the right first. Bam. And we have more Wosu in here, little wolf soldiers. So do you guys think that the Wosu eventually became the Dark Nuts in Wind Waker? Well, actually, that wouldn't really be possible due to how the timeline works, because that is a... Well, technically, they're both in the adult timeline. I mean, they're both in the adult timeline, technically, but they were made by the former King of Hyrule, which would have been way after this point in time. Then again, we don't know when this event occurred. Because the whole thing with the Zelda the First, her brother, and the former king, we don't know where in the Downfall timeline that happened. So that technically could have been before the Flood. I mean, but we don't know. There's no way of saying. Or it could just be a divergent evolution thing, like Superstar said, yeah. Bum, bum, bum. Ah, you jerk. Get over here a little bit. There we go. Ooh. You know what? Sure. Let's pop a life. Might as well. Oh my god, stop, 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 stop. Let me in, let me in. Where's the break? Where's the break? There it is. Okay. You dildo. I don't like you. Alright, so what we're gonna do is go drop here, and... Now, we don't need to do that, but I do it anyways, just to make sure. Because I think the boss is gonna give us next XP to bring us over the hump. We're almost at 700, so we're already there. Okay, so we're skipping you. Bum, ba, bum. And we'll get basically a free 4,000 XP because of how we did this. Shield. Okay, Helmet Head. This guy is stupidly easy. Oh my god. I say that as I cannot hit him. I can't hit him! What is going on? What happened to me? What the fuck? What the fuck? Why did I say it was stupidly easy? Because he is. He actually is stupidly easy. I'm just an idiot. Because I wanted to talk. Oh my god, hit the guy. There. That's how it's supposed to go. Like, that's literally how easy it's supposed to be. You just pop his head, catch it, and we're good to go. The Let's Play Curse Strikes again. No shit. And boom, 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 boom. All that free XP. Nom, 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 nom. I love you. 733. We are good to go. And check this out. Because we lost... Hold on, jerk. And because we lost a life, pause, boom, save. Hey, guess what? We have 3 lives again. And the only time I'll do that is after a palace because we have 0 XP. The downside of doing that normally is because you lose all the experience you've gathered up to that point. But if you have 0 XP, it really doesn't matter. Alright, so with that, we're basically almost done with the Western continent. I think we might be able to get one more palace in before we end off. Like, honestly, I can beat this whole thing in like 5 hours, but it's probably going to be closer to like 7 or 8 because of how much we're chatting. It's the same if you run out of lives. Yeah, so basically you're treating it like you game overed, but you're not gaming over. Okay. So, the next palace is down on an island, way down to the south, but there's no clear way to get there, but Error told us how. It's south of King's Grave. So this is the King's Tomb, the one who set up all the bullshit in the story. This is the King's Tomb. Thank you. And for some reason he has seahorses around his grave. And of course we got the Christian cross right there as well. But, according to Error, we just head south. Done. And... let's be a fairy boy. We are literally a fairy now. He loves the seahorse emoji? Yes. True. Oh, shoot. Give me that, give me that, give me that. Yes, thank you. Seahorses are dragon and myths, so makes sense. I mean, I'd have to look at seahorse symbolism, I guess. Oh my god. That actually was pretty snazzy right there. And we're officially in the next palace. Just like that. Ah, you dick. And we're almost dead already. And I can't heal. Okay, we don't have enough magic to heal. Nope. Let's just keep doing this until we get a red potion. There we go. And get another red potion, and then we do it again until we're at max magic. Boom. Why are there crosses in the world of Hyrule? Who's got a crucified? So Raifu, so the Downfall timeline is the only one that has Christian/Catholic imagery, and it's consistent throughout the first, second, and Link to the Past. But we don't see it anywhere else. So my hypothesis, if we're gonna go with the idea that the Downfall timeline was as a result of Link's death, which I know that's the accepted thing, but there's no direct evidence for it. It's just kind of a presumption that fan bases collectively come to. But if that is the case, my tinfoil hat hypothesis is that Link's death kind of inspired a similar story as the crucifix. But that's just a possibility, and I'm not gonna die on that hill. Okay, so where... Hold on. I need to check my notes, because I forgot what I was supposed to min-max in this dungeon. I know we have to be max damage by the end, but I forgot if I was doing anything in between. There it is. Ding. So yeah, we want to end this at 834, so we're going to do 1 into health, and the rest we're going to save. Alright. That or it led to a crisis of faith, leading to people turning to other religions, which is very possible, but there's also the goddess statue we found in this game, so even though we have more of like a Catholic theme in Hyrule this time, we still have those who hold to the old religion of the goddess Hylia. And generally, that was with the daughter of one of the wise men, who's probably descended from one of the 7 wise men in the imprisoning war, so you see why they probably hold to the old goddess Hylia. Honestly, one of the things I'm most excited about rerunning through this series is trying to see how the evolution of both the creatures as well as the religions are. Just from like a deep history standpoint, it's really freaking interesting to me. Oh, you dick! I fell. And that just ruined my... That just messed up my entire walkthrough here. But as soon as we level up, we'll get our max health back, so it's fine. Okay. Technically, there is an easier way to fight this guy. Let me see. What is the next health? Is going to be 800. So if we go for another health, we're going to have to wait till 1500 experience before we can get what we need. Or if we go for magic, we need at least 1200. So we'd have to get 1900 XP between now and the end, which I don't trust we can do. So I'm just going to ignore the rest of this. Right now, we need to get over 800 before the end just to get what we want. So yeah, let's just stick to this. And randomly enough, this is not one we want to do. I don't want to down slash this guy because what it's going to do is break the block and then I'm stuck down there with the iron knuckle. And I won't be able to jump back up after the fact, so I'd have to leave the room, come back, and we're in the same position. So I'm just going to hang out here until he decides to move. Move, Mew. Or, yeah, Mew. I think that's what these things are called. Hey. You gonna come over? Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna leave and come back, because you are just not doing what you're supposed to. You know what? Let's just do that. Please, 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 please. Make it! Okay, we're good. I missed that jump half the time. And key. Ganon, I think Ganon's strung him up for the people to see. I think it's like, we're getting the territory of just making up fan fiction at this point if we're going to go down that hypothesis, so I don't want to presume more than that. But the simple fact, like, I know the reason why we only see this religious imagery in the original games is because at a certain point, Nintendo of America says you can't do that anymore, you can't include religion in the games, so they started making their own invented mythology, which is what we have now and we accept as the Zelda franchise. So the reason why it's only here is because of that, for real. But if we're going to accept in lore, the only reason it's here in the Downfall timeline, but it's specifically after a certain point in time in the Downfall timeline. So, I don't know. I don't know. But if we're going to write fanfiction, yes. Let's go with that. Ganon defeated Link, strung his body up in the same imagery as the crucifix, and boom. That's how we got the imagery used in the game. if we go off of something that has zero evidence to support it. Blue iron knuckles! And we have our raft. And the reason we know that that's really the imagery they were going for is because there's some official artwork for Link to the Past that has Link literally on his knees in a church before a crucifix and a figure hanging on it. This was around the time the game was released. Okay. Let me pull that up real quick, just for the fun of it. Open link in new tab. And open image in new tab. Okay, so let's switch over to my computer real quick. So yeah, like this is official Link to the Past artwork. So legit. It's a thing. Loreways, this game occurred during the era where Ganon's minions were obsessed with placing elevators everywhere in the dungeons. So no, MCC, this was actually built by the former King of Hyrule, so he's the one who put all these elevators in here. Oh, shite. What am I doing? Why am I being an idiot? Oh, give me the pee bag. Actually, we really don't need the pee bag at all. And we're good. So it doesn't matter how much XP we get at this point. We're going to get up to 8,000 by the end of it. But yeah, these were intended to keep people who were not full of the virtue of courage. Hold on, I need to focus. I hate this room. It was to bar access to the profane, so to speak. Ah, you dick. Oh my god, get out. Just get out. There we go. Okay, we're good. We're safe. So only a person who could display the virtue of courage would be able to attain the final Triforce piece. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I went out of my way to get all of the experience in this, like fight these guys under here, fight all the other ones, I could probably get an extra level up. Really? Come on. Hold on. There we go. I could probably get an extra level up so we can end this at like 844, but it's not really a big deal. Okay. Please, 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 please. Ah, shit. I'm trying to get it so the blue guy's not on screen, because he's going to attack me, and this is going to be tough. Okay, there we go. Because if he's throwing knives at me while I'm in this cramped condition, it's not going to be pretty. Okay, so let's pop a life and pop a shield. This guy's not that bad either. This guy's actually really easy. It's basically a blue iron knuckle on a horse. So first we gotta get him off the horse, then we fight him like a regular blue iron knuckle. Do it! Yes, Palpatine's yelling at me. One, two, three, slap. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and bam. Dun, dun, dun. Which is why there are so many of these places have normal elevators, right? Well, I mean, the king had to make this place ADA compliant. So, American with Disability Act, you just have to put elevators everywhere, just in case, you know. Look at all that free experience. Boom, maxed out attack. So now we're going to focus mostly on life and then worry about magic last. Like how we've established Hyrule is America. Alright, and there we go. Now, because I really don't want to walk all the way back, let's just go ahead and save. It's faster this way rather than trying to go back through that cave and then fight our way through the graveyard. So now we are done with the Western continent in its entirety. You feel like the magic in the game is most interesting in the series? I mean, it's pretty badass. Link takes a nap and teleports. I mean, why not? He turns into a fairy in this game. Teleporting is not the strangest thing that could happen. Alright, so here's a cool little piece of trivia. Originally, before Nintendo decided that the events of Link's Awakening took place after Link to the Past when he was traveling to Librina and Holodrum. Originally said Link's Awakening took place during this trek while this Link is traveling across the ocean. So we get on the raft, we travel east across the ocean, and we arrive, and the events of Link's Awakening occurred, and now we arrived on the eastern continent. That was the original, I don't want to say intention, but someone mentioned that was what they were when it occurred, and then later they changed it so that it's, oh no, it's Link's Awakening Link, the hero of legend, while traveling to Holodrum and Librina. Which is why I think possibly those two nations are the eastern continent, because it's the same stretch of ocean where the Windfish would be. But who knows? You know what? Should I actually let's see if we can get one more dungeon in, because that took no time at all. That took 0 time. It's not going to take us much to get to the next palace. And now you switch games for the big twist of the stream. Dude, that actually would be awesome if I just, like, stopped the game and then pulled up Link's Awakening and played that first. Okay, before we go in... Actually, no, let's go into town first. We are now in the town of Naburu. I cannot help you. That's fine. Beep bum. Because I want the spell that's here before we do anything else. With boots, I could walk on water. Oh, so you're talking about a story that has a lot of Christian themes and you get the ability to walk on water. Jesus! Link is Jesus. You've heard it here, folks. I am thirsty. You know what? There's other guys in town for that. Let's move on with our life. Want to get some water? Oh, literally water. We get water out of the fountain and give it to her. Here you go. You can have water. You have water. Come to my house. Okay, yeah. Hey, we gave her water. We're out of danger. We're good. Well, in other towns, the lady in the red dress, she invites us into her house and we get health back in full. So, I don't trust ladies in red dresses in this game. I'll just leave it at that. Alright, we got the fire spell. She invited me into her house to meet her dad. It's fine. And weirdly enough, she's not in the house. It's weird that these games went from being Christian to Shinto themes. Well, there's also Shinto themes in the original game, too. For the most part, the first game was a lot of Catholicism, Shintoism, and Buddhism. And there's like a weird little merging of all those philosophical or theological thoughts. Oh, God. Just go, just go, just go, just go. I cannot wait till we get the upstrike. Oh my God. And we need fire spell. Come on, jump into it. Ah, you dick. Oh my lord! Why are you being an asshole? So weirdly enough, there is no way to beat Tektites in this game without fire. This is literally the only way to defeat them. Same thing with the Zoras, I think. Maybe you can beat Zoras without it, but I only ever beat them with fire because it's scary to go near them. And here we have a scorpion enemy, which I've never killed one of these guys because they're so easy, literally, to just run right past. Okay, let's pop our health. Goodbye. There's no reason to kill them ever. Shinto and Buddhism haven't been meaningfully separate since like the 6th century. I mean, fair. You know more about this than me, but fair. I'm thinking more like, I guess where I'm coming at it from is it's more like Shinto philosophy, but you have overt Buddhist references. So this is a weird change in the Western version of the game. So the little river demon right there that's blocking the path south, which is where we eventually need to go to, that had a different character model in the original release. Let's see if I can find it. See if I can find a picture of it just to show you guys. I may need to find like an actual video because I'm not finding anything on Google Earth. Or not Google Earth, Jesus. Google Images. But this is supposed to be a river Oni. Okay, game. I don't want speed runs. I don't want any percent. An hour and hour 12 minutes speed run. That's probably good. Sorry, I'm on YouTube right now trying to pull this up real fast. Okay, he's at the maze. And it's right after the maze palace. Or no, the ocean palace that we go down here. Almost there. Come on, come on. Where are you? Oh, he's playing in the US version of it. Crap. But it has a different character model, and I cannot for the life of me find it right now. Maybe I can. I think I found another video. Sorry, guys. I'm just being weird about it. There we go. I think I found it. Alright, let's switch over to my computer. So this is the original model in the Japanese version, where it's literally just an Oni. Okay. Goodbye. Shinto and Buddhism is like Celtic and Christianity. Hey, take that back. Though Tuatha De Danann, that's very different. It's polytheistic. They're very different philosophies. like the native theology of that's what the on them. Yeah, it's very, very different. Hold on, let me pull it up. It looks kind of like reddish. It looks like a red Oni. Link's got women in every house. Yep. Link's a player in this game. He is the final hero, though. Alright, let's head up north. Shit. You know what? Let's not and go heal ourselves, because I don't want to start this with damage taken. And we're good. But this little river demon is essentially a Snorlax that we have to get rid of. No joke. That's exactly what he is. We have to go find ourselves a Poké-Flute. And I'm only half joking. So those are Zoras, or Zolas. I think they're still called Zolas in this game, with an L. So normally I would head to the right first, but because we want to do the quests in order, let's head to the left. But let's not go that direction. Plus we can get the new sword ability if we go to the left first. Okay, we're good. Oh. Oh gosh. Now there's bubbles! There's bubbles everywhere! I hate bubbles. They're the bane of my run every single time. And right up here, at the very, very top of a mountain on a different continent, we have the mountain town of Darunia. So why is Darunia known on a different continent from the original? I do remember... Actually, this may play into it now that I think about it. So there was a certain point in time in the Downfall timeline where all the Gerudo literally up and left Hyrule and went to another continent. So we only see them literally in Holodrum and Labrina. So that is canonical, where the Gerudo or the Gorons left entirely and went to a whole nother continent. So it's possible that the reason they know Darunia here on the other continent is because that's where the lineage came down to. And memories of him as an individual is residing over here. Same thing with the Gerudo, for some reason. Gerudo, Naburu's name is over here on the eastern continent. And I don't think we see Gerudo... The only reason I can't say we don't see Gerudo in the Downfall timeline is because of Echoes of Wisdom. But let's be honest, how much were they thinking about the timeline at that point? Because I think at a certain point, because the writers actually did care about continuity until Breath of the Wild era. So anything after Breath of the Wild, so up through Echoes, I just don't think they really cared as much. They were also in Four Swords Adventure, which is in the Child timeline. Because Four Swords is before the timeline split, and Four Swords Adventure is in the Child timeline, so it's not a relevant factor. Okay. Yes, it's in the Child timeline. It happens after Twilight Princess, if I remember correctly. So you guys want to see my Santa Claus impersonation? The palace has a false wall. Why, thank you. I mean, I can technically... That's not a pipe, so I can't say it's a Mario impersonation. Yes, we're going to do our Santa Claus impersonation there. Is this near Death Mountain? No. Death Mountain's on a completely different continent, Vest. It's on the western continent. We're in the east. I love how we break into this dude's house through the chimney, and he's like, hey, here, let me teach you some of combat abilities. We definitely know this does not take place in America then, because if someone broke into the house, that's not what would happen. Now we have the up thrust and the down thrust. I don't use the up thrust very often, to be 100% honest, but there are a couple enemies where it's very, very useful. Yeah, Echoes is intended to be in the downfall timeline, but the presence of Gorons and Gerudo kind of throw the entire migration, unless it happens before Link to the Past, which I don't think it does. Rescue the kidnapped child on the island. I mean, we can headcanon that Echoes happens before the migration occurs. Nah, if you break into a house in America, you do get... Yes, you do get some fighting lessons, but not in the same way Link just got. A powerful knight lives in this town. Yes, he does. I know him. He just taught me how to upstab. So now we know how to upthrust and downthrust. Maybe we should go see that lady in red and get our health back. Giggity. Shit! Oh my god, the bubble just... That fucked me up. Okay. No matter what, I would have died there, because if I kept going forward, I would have hit the bubble and it would have knocked me backwards. That was just horrible RNG right there. What the fuck? Nope. Oh my lord, again! It's okay. We can get a free, we can get our health, or life back right now. Seriously, bubbles are I die more to the bubbles and the the bone fishes than anything else in this game. It's kind of depressing. Oh, crap. Come on, drop down. Die. You gonna drop? No, he's not gonna drop. That's fine. You just stay up there. At least we're getting some free health here. Alright, let's go get our free trophy so we can get the health back. Normally I don't grab it, but you know what? Because I lost HP, I'm gonna do it. Or I lost life. And the reason I generally don't get these is because you can only get them once. In every playthrough. Even if you save and reset, they do not respawn. So you have to use them very sparingly. Oh no, that's not the small child vest. We have another small child that we're gonna rescue. Remember that lady, the old lady, her grandchild was kidnapped by a lizard person, which these are called, I think, hold on, let me pull this up. I forgot what these guys are called. Where's my notes? But these are probably like a precursor to the Lizalthos. Geru. Yeah, so these are called Geru. Okay, so Town of Darunia, Maze, Palace Notes. Okay, moving on. Bum, 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 bum. And yes, Vest, I have heard some people theorize that this specific island maze might be one of the ones mentioned in like Breath of the Wild. But again, I don't buy it. Because it's just, it depends on how far back you think the flashbacks actually occur. My personal opinion is the Zonai flashbacks happened after all of this happens. That the entire founding of the Zonai was a refounding after this area was abandoned. Not the original. In which case, it wouldn't be here because they haven't come here yet. But I try not to factor in anything from the Breath of the Wild era at all into the canon, because none of it would make sense. Like, I am perfectly fine saying it's its own continuity and is not tied to this franchise at all. Like, I'd be perfectly cool with it. Because that would make everything make more sense. What corner of the map are we in? We're in the top easternmost part of it. Ow, you dick. Let me get back to town and I'll pull up a full world map of this and show you guys. Okay. Ooh, hello there, P. Let me see, what's my... Okay, so we're going into Palace 4. So essentially, by the time we start Palace 4, I want to be at 836. And then 838 by the end of it. Okay. So we're gonna save up. We're gonna save up. And we got the... Hey, you dildo. It's okay. They don't do a lot of damage. The real danger is knocking you over into the waters and get instant death. Okay, we're good. Okay. Let me pull up that map real quick. Zelda 2... Overworld. Did you guys not hear any of that? What the crap? Why did... Okay, for some reason it literally just... Because I have a shortcut, the M key on my keyboard is a shortcut for the muting the mic. But I didn't press the button for the M key. Give me a second. Can you guys hear me right now? Just making sure. Okay. Now let's go do this again. Oh, it's probably because I was typing. Because I typed map while searching it, and therefore it muted it. Great. I'm smart. All right, so essentially this is where we're at right now. Down here is where the original game took place. Here's Death Mountain Range. Moroge Swamp, Midoro Swamp. This is where the seat of power is, the main kingdom for Hyrule. We have the section where the Windfish is supposed to be right here, and then the Eastern Continent. Now, I have heard some hypotheses that this island down here, where the last palace was, is supposed to be like Eventide, but again, Eventide, but that's again if we accept Breath of the Wild into the canon, and that this is the Akala region where the watchtower looking across the ocean would be. Again, who freaking knows? But the biggest issue is Death Mountain should be up here. It should be up here. If we're going to go off the Breath of the Wild map and not down here. However, the weird thing is that Spectacle Rock in Breath of the Wild is right down here. Because the Gerudo Desert would be down here and it's in this area. Which always annoyed me because it's always on Death Mountain. It shouldn't be down here unless the mountains were renamed. Unless this whole area that surrounds the desert is the original Death Mountain, and then for whatever reason, migration happened and they just renamed Death Mountain up here. I don't know. I have no idea. But it is what it is. From what I know, there's technically only been 3 Ganons if you include the Era of the Wilds. Because in Four Swords Adventure, I think Ganon gets resurrected. Or not resurrected, sorry, a new Ganon is born and resurrects the Witch Fati. So technically we have 2 Ganondorfs / Ganons. Because Ganon dies in Twilight Princess, and then a new one is born after the fact. But if we accept the Era of the Wilds, then technically there's 3 in the whole series. You are a hero for saving my child. Come. Now that you think about it, the Gerudo Desert looks alarmingly like a crater. I mean, shit happens. There is one line of inquiry I do need to look into from Four Swords, where there is a desert race of, I think, lizards, and I think it's a lizard, and they're like a lizard being, but there's pyramids built at one point in time in Hyrule. If we use those games. But we don't, the only pyramid we see was in Tears of the Kingdom. But I have never managed to play Four Swords or Four Swords Adventure because I didn't have friends with Game Boy Advance with a GBA that had a link cable, so I was never able to play them. Anyways, we just got Reflect. The thing is, Vita I've tried to play Four Swords Adventure solo. Like, it's on the Switch store, but it still won't let me do it. I click into it and it still says I have to connect to people. Unless I've looked online, but unless I'm a complete moron. Which is possible. Oh yeah, I don't have it on GameCube at this point. I don't even have a GameCube anymore, unfortunately. I was an idiot that sold all my old consoles. Okay. Ah, you dildo. It's fine. We just need to make it to the palace entrance, and then we're fine. Health doesn't mean anything at that point. Ooh, I will take you, though. Boom. See, the biggest thing that one of my biggest childhood regrets is I came across a copy of FF7 at one of the local GameStops, and I didn't have the money to buy it, and I've never had a copy. But if I would have had that, you know how much money that thing is worth at this point? The original. And it was the one that had that typo on the back of the box, which makes it even more valuable. Alright, so now we gotta go through the maze. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to remember where the other health is, because there's another heart somewhere. And the next heart piece is after this. I just wanted to make sure before I got too far in. Ooh, hello there. We might actually get to 6 health before we even enter this place. And there's our health potion. And full health, full magic. You're streaming from your childhood copy of Earthbound. Oh, dude. I've started Earthbound, I've never finished it, though. But I don't know why this place is in the shape of a maze, though. Narrative-wise, this is where the den of the cult is, because the boss of this area is Karok, which is that evil wizard or the evil mage that we talked about before, who possibly, at least in the manga, is the name of the magician that cursed Zelda in the first place, and is the one that is actively trying to resurrect Ganon. He's the one looking for us to sacrifice us. There we go. And health up. So again, our goal before we get to the end of this palace is to be 838. I don't have enough to kill this guy. I'm out of magic, so I just have to wait for him to hop over me and then run my butt off. And that's what I needed. Full magic. You know what? I'm just gonna run past you because I really don't want to deal with your punk ass. Oh, God. Why not? Let's pop a fire. That'll just make the little bit of grinding we're gonna do in this dungeon a lot easier. It's fine. It's not really a lot of grinding, and it's super quick. Boom. Ah, shite. You dildo. I have never missed this guy. Dick. Because I can technically just sit here and grind this the whole time. But I'm not going to do that. Let's do this until we at least get max everything. That would mean the entirety of Central Hyrule is underwater. I mean, if we're going to go off the idea that Breath of the Wild map includes both the Western and Eastern continent, but and again, we're really going off on a limb saying that that's even related to this. There we go. So realistically, all we need to do is get up to past 2,500 XP, get to life 7, and then get up past 700, and we're good. So by the end of this palace, we need to have 3,200 XP. And we know this is the den of the wizards because we literally have wizards everywhere. Come on. I'll show you when we get there. Yeah, they're not called wizrobes. They're literally called wizards in this one. Oh, you dick. So this palace is also going to have 2 different excursions. We're going to do one loop and then exit. And you just jump to your death. That's fine. Perfect. So this is a 50-50 chance whether a red dark iron knuckle will spawn. Shit. And he jumped to his death. Perfect. Because that is a very dangerous enemy right there, only because if you try to jump at him and he throws it, you're just going to fall in the lava. Please don't attack. You dildo. Bum, bum, bum. Really? These guys do not want me to have health. Nice. And now we have boots that let us walk on water. We have literally become Jesus. And we have one more item that will finish our transformation. You know what? Let's go ahead and just pop a life real quick. And boom. Yeah, we could probably finish this in 2 streams, so we'll probably finish the game on Friday. Dick! Okay, we're good. As long as the bubble stays below there, we're fine. Oh, shit. And we are not fine. We are not fine. Oh, God. Why you decided to spawn now? Okay. We're almost done with the first loop, though, so we should be okay. We got one more side path, and we're good. Here's the wizards! And they are totally... I am not going to even mention what they look like. But they are wizards. So according to... Let me scroll back up real quick. So they are described... The wizards are described as being in the service of the King of Hyrule / Prince, and they were banished after the incident with Zelda the First. So these were under the service of the one that cursed him, and the prince decided to banish them when they probably all left the kingdom over to the other continent and then set up shop here. Oh, God. If we can make it out of this palace without dying, I will be happy. Because then we can max out our health and magic, and we're good. Okay. Oh, dildo. Oh, at least they don't deal a lot of damage. I mean, that's fair enough. Please don't hit me. Now, technically speaking, we are able to reflect those if I pop the reflect spell. But one, I don't have enough magic to do that because I'm not investing in magic. If I put more leveling into it, I could have, but I don't, unfortunately. Plus, it's actually my strategy to not kill any of them throughout the entire run. And the reason why is I need to have full magic by the time I get to the final, to Karok, the boss. Alrighties. Let's head out, go back in, we're going to max out our magic and health, and then we'll finish up the rest of the run. Oh, hello there. Oh. So in order to max out my leveling, essentially I need to be above 1800 before I go back into here, and guess what? We're already there. Just to stay safe, let's go above 2000, but I think 1800 is my normal safe bet. Boom. Cool. Alright, before we head down, I'm going to do another quick bio break and refresh my water. I'll be right back. And back. Let's go ahead and do this. So the hardest part of this palace is the second half where I have to dodge all the wizards. These banished magic users. And I can only presume that means that they were loyal to the wizard that cursed Zelda. Karok. C-A-R-O-C-K. Again, that's not confirmed within the game's lore, but it's in one of the mangas that says it, and honestly, there's nothing to contradict it, so I think it just adds to the story, so I'll accept it. Run! Just run! Shoot! Got him. Bum, bum, bum. No, luckily, this is the only enemy in here, so we don't have to worry about it. And it's faster to not do that. And boom. Perfect. Now we just gotta make sure we're above 700 before we finish off, and we're good. I think the boss here drops 300 XP, if I remember correctly. So yeah, we're fine. But we're not at max health, magic right now. Shit. Because if we get into the boss's area without max magic, we're kind of screwed. And I don't know... Hold on, let me clear these guys out before I rant some more. What the crap? This is another really dangerous room because of these guys. For reasons like that. Shit. Death 4. What the... What the crap? What the crap? Okay, I literally cannot die again. Because then it's game over and I'm gonna... Well, technically it's not too bad because we don't have any health or any XP right now, so it's not like I'm losing anything. I don't think I've ever had a problem with this room either. I don't know why it's being annoying. There we go. There's only a limited amount of these, which is why I'm kind of like dragging them into the light here. Okay, we're good. There we go. Come on. Okay, we're safe. Good news, dying refills your magic. It did refill my magic, which is good. I totally intended to do that. I mean, if we gamed over here, it's not that big of a deal, because it's a very quick run back. Okay. Oh, come on. I was stuck into the animation there. Okay. If I remember correctly, there is another full health. Oh, no. Wrong dungeon. Sorry. My bad. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, thank you. I was gonna say, like, if I didn't get that, I would not be able to finish this run. I'd have to leave and come back. Because even with knowing the trick to this fight, it's still, you take a lot of damage. And there's no real way around it. It's a little bit RNG going on here. Okay, fingers crossed. Oh god, so yeah, this definitely looks like that guy, but the trick is just to stay in the left corner and don't move. But he sometimes teleports on top of you and you can't control that. And trust me, this is way safer than trying to do this legit when you're running around the middle of the room. But he definitely looks like the guy from the artwork. So I'd say, yeah, I'd agree that headcanon, this is the same guy. Boom. We're safe. We're good. Max health, max attack. Now we just gotta work on magic. And that'll be it. And guess what? We can now walk on water. Link is officially Jesus, finally. But before we leave, let's go ahead and grab one more thing. Nope. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Boom. Because we need one more heart container. And that will be it. So what we're going to do is head back, get to dry land, and save back to the original palace, and we are done for today, and we'll finish up on Friday. We got technically 3 more palaces. 2 more primary ones, and then the Grand Palace at the end. Kaboom. So here we are. Let's get to town. Pause. Trick. And the only way to do this is to have a second controller. Literally, I have one of my little Switch controllers plugged in just so I can pull that off. Anyways, death count is 5 right now, EMD. But no game over. And that's why I kind of messed with you guys at the beginning, this saying like, hey, who wants to put money down on how many game overs I'm going to have? Trick is 0 because it doesn't matter. I always reset my lives. I'm a jerk about that. Alright, guys. Thank you all for hanging out. Actually, technically, according to this, I only have 4 deaths. That's what that number underneath Link's name is. So technically only 4, according to the game. So, heh. Anyways, take it easy, guys. I'll see you all on Friday. We'll finish up this game, and then we will get moving on to the next one next week. I haven't decided if it's going to be another random horror game, or if we're going to get right into Max Payne. But doesn't matter. Anyways, take it easy, guys. Peace, and have a good day.